It's good to be back on your screens. Welcome to the most watched business show in the country. This is the Business Weekly Show on City TV. My name is Michael Obodu. Follow me on Twitter at @mobodu. The show is sponsored by Standard Chartered Bank Ghana Limited. Standard Chartered Bank, here for good. In the next 1 hour, I'll be bringing you all the news that made the world of business this week. Trust me, it's not going to be boring one bit. So are you ready? Let's go! Want to acquire a passport, a birth certificate, or a marriage certificate? And for business folks, do you want to apply for a permit or pay your taxes? Now you can access all of these services on a singular platform. You will no longer have to go through the hassle of public transport or waiting in long queues at various government agencies to access these services or pay bribes or whatever they call them these days. Now, from the comfort of your home and with a click of a button, you are good to go. I'm sure you've probably heard of the Ghana.gov.gh platform. The beautiful part of all of this is that it is estimated to increase government revenue annually by 3 billion Ghana cedis. I'm wondering though, why at all did it take us so long to achieve this?
Accessing Government of Ghana services like passports acquisition, registration of businesses, or applying for birth certificates, among others, have often been fraught with unnecessary bureaucracies, middlemen, and sometimes open corruption, with some public officials openly demanding kickbacks and bribes. The phenomenon has made access to public service a Herculean task, but that may soon be a thing of the past. At the launch of a comprehensive digital service and revenue collection platform created to provide a single point of access to Government of Ghana services, Vice President Dr. Mahmoud Baumia says, aside being able to increase government revenue by 3 billion Ghana cedis a year, access to government services will now be a click away from any Ghanaian.
It is the belief of government that a single payments platform will have three main benefits for our economy and help us achieve our long-term goal of a Ghana beyond aid. First, Ghana.gov will help grow government revenue. It is estimated that about 10 to 15% of collections are lost through inefficiencies, theft, or other accounting schemes. Going digital means that we can improve our revenue collection by an estimated 3 billion cedis annually. Also, the sheer convenience of enabling all of us to pay for government services with our mobile money, our bank accounts, our new QR code, our fintech apps on our phones, or even, through the bank's drafts and so on. The hassle of going through long queues and hopping from office to office just to make a payment for a government service will simply become a thing of the past. It is expected that Ghana will derive expense savings of some 4 Ghana cedis a year as a result of this platform. And that is a conservative number because a 2017 payment industry report indicated that Ghana could save over 250 million Ghana cedis a year by becoming more of a cash-light economy.
Minister of Finance Ken Ofori-Atta noted that the platform has already processed over 20 billion Ghana cedis through its pilot phase.
The Ghana.gov payment platform is interfaced with existing platform at some MDAs, including GRA, and with 23 commercial banks to facilitate cash and check transactions from any branch of the partner banks. All electronic payment methods, including mobile money, Ghana QR, Visa, MasterCard, and USID via *222 number on any mobile phone can be conducted through the platform at the user's convenience with the requisite provision for the security of user data. The platform was piloted from June to December 2020. A total of 624,000 persons registered to pay for about 37 tax types and services to GRA and a host of MDAs. Over 5.8 million transactions have been carried out since the platform's pilot insertion in June 2020, with a value of 20.2 billion as of 4:30 p.m. this past Monday. That's how accurately we have come in now. Encouragingly, over 90% of transactions were of GRA. Undoubtedly, this should translate into enhanced revenue mobilization outcomes.
Minister for Communication and Digitalization Eslawoso Ekufu said plans are underway to secure the data to be generated through the use of the Ghana.gov platform.
The ministry is also assiduously working through the Data Protection Commission and the Cybersecurity Center to safeguard and secure all our personal information. User feedback is important and an integral part of the growth and efficiency of this platform. And so we encourage everybody to take advantage of this intervention and make good use of it. It will, in the short, medium, and long term, benefit all Ghanaians directly and indirectly. To the 3 local Ghanaian-owned technology companies, Haptel, ExpressPay, and IT Consortium, who set aside their competitiveness to collaborate to build this platform from scratch, and your wider local technology community that supported you with ideas and contributions, I'm extremely proud of all of you. Thank you so much for rising to the occasion. I echo to all of you. I congratulate the officials of the Ministry of Communications and Digitalization, the Ministry of Finance, Office of the Vice President, National Information Technology Agency.
There we go. Kudos to the government for this move. We'll keep an eye on the platform to see how things go. But now to the agricultural sector. Imagine you could no longer find eggs to buy for your usual fried egg and bread breakfast, or that your wache seller keeps telling you she can't seem to find some to buy to garnish your wache. And for those of us who love noodles, imagine Indomie without some scrambled eggs in there. Come to think of it, what then becomes of caterers who really need eggs for their work? That would literally mean no more meat pies for our yogurts in the hot afternoons. And for persons who are yet to get married, it means no wedding cakes. China, thing is serious. But you know, these might sound very extreme, but gradually we are getting there. You understand after watching this video.
Ghana's poultry sector has for over 2 decades now been experiencing a steep decline. Research has shown many of the commercial poultry farms that were established in the late 1960s and early 1970s have collapsed or are on the verge of collapsing. The reasons for this are many, but in recent times, the high cost or unavailability of maize and needed ingredients in the industry is to blame. According to a study on the poultry feed sector in Ghana by the International Food Policy Research Institute, maize accounted for 60% of the poultry feed. Thus, its availability and price have implications for the growth potential of the industry. Currently, 5 out of the 55 feed mills in the country have shut down due to the situation. In June 2020, a 50-kilogram bag of maize was selling for 65 Ghana cedis. Fast forward to November 2020, the price for the same commodity shot up to 100 Ghana cedis, and by June 2021, the same commodity at the same weight was selling for 130 Ghana cedis. The same goes for wheat bran and soybean cake. According to GAFA, the resultant effect is that their work capital has been drastically reduced. Speaking to City Business News on the development, President of the Greater Accra Poultry Farmers Association, Michael Nyako Ampem, says there is a looming danger if the challenge is not addressed.
We do not have the cereals such as maize and soya, and then the wheat bran available to work. So we are having to have intermittent shutdowns, and what we see is that there's a looming total shutdown, and we want to avert that because our GAFA alone has about 1,775 farmers, and we cannot have a situation where people whose businesses are just farming, poultry farming, would have their business collapse. The way forward is that we are ready to sign MOUs with people, our business people who are ready to bring in the maize and make it available for us, the soya and then the wheat bran. Because the truth is that the wheat bran is unavailable and is also expensive. So the feed millers should have an MOU so that we are not saying that they should give everything to us, but we should have an understanding so that a certain percentage of our consumption is given to us, say about 50% is given to us. So that when that is given to us, then we are sure that we'll be in business and we'll go through this crisis very well.
Poultry farmer Reverend Otu Mensah shared perspective on the issue.
This is not the first time. At least we know that where it gets to the peak season in December, we have these challenges. But this time we are in July and it has started and we don't see any end in sight. Those who don't have the financial capacity are losing their birds, they are losing their farms. People are really going through things. It's just a handful of people who are here. We have the opportunity to talk to the press, but people are suffering out there. And I believe that this is a national issue. We shouldn't do it so that it will collapse. Then we'll go back to the issue of bringing the imported, frozen, meats. And here it's happening. But I believe that we can do it.
I hope something can be done soon to address the concerns of these poultry farmers. If not, their investment will be lost. But now let's talk about fruits. Not just any fruits, but watermelon. Have you noticed how cheap they become during the bumper season? I remember I once bought a whole ball like this for 1 Ghana cedi. But interestingly, this same ball could sell for over 10 cedis during the lean season. It clearly shows that our farmers are selling them for cheap peanuts, literally, just to minimize their losses during the bumper season. You could understand why farmers in the Northeast region are getting worried as the harvest season approaches. No wonder they are calling on the government to finish up the watermelon factory in the region under its one district, one factory policy.
Well, I'm going to join farmer Amidi Salifu in his farm. Amidi Salifu was eager to farm more of the watermelon because he was promised that the factory will be ready by the time they will be harvesting. It is harvesting period. Many have started harvesting the produce, but the factory is yet to be ready. Now he's worried about this situation, because they have pumped in a lot of resources into it, and the factory cannot absorb it at this moment. Then a lot will go into waste, then affecting his investment. I'm going to find out from Amidi Salifu why he's feeling right now, the fact that the factory is not ready and the produce is available.
Factory ma watermelon factory ma bam kakan sunguti to ko watermelon ma kabada umpa to ko watermelon ma adama na bandar ma kane so watermelon ma kudo ne samna umpa tunda ne sansha unkwa tebe nyala tabo samna ma yo domi bandar ma kane.
And these people were motivated to farm watermelon this year because there was an assurance that the watermelon factory will be ready to absorb the produce, the time is getting ready.
Hale barayi sakara kidin ba kabachana yanda ta pan group dima ko watermelon ma banyala banyada dranin ta sopel pam katanin da nyai don wala din ka factory yina nda watermelon wana don wana da tunin mu ko watermelon ma pompa to ko watermelon ma da ma mun kani so dinya to amukare nzan.
The Vice President, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, broke the ground for the construction of the melon factory in December 2019. The factory is under the government's flagship project, the One District, One Factory. The Ghana Exim Bank is funding its construction. The factory was expected to be delivered within a year after the sod cutting, but 2 years down the lane, the factory is yet to be completed. The president toured the factory in June. Processing equipment have been installed, but it is not ready for intake of the watermelon. As the farmers wait relentlessly for the factory's completion, Amidi Salifu and his many colleagues have only one plea.
Pompon kaynyala to amukirpa nzanti te pupar boma dama tanzanta arziki shirinda tihna kama factory ma nyala kan sunguti katanawula katinya da nti watermelon ma pompon tina bunya da nta so katubuni tezane ka fablenti asanzal dama numvugisheba ban to ngwahe lala watermilo wada ntati ka tuko watermilo ma kai samne.
From agriculture, we turn our attention now to transportation. The frequent increase in fuel prices is really making things difficult for a lot of people across the country, so much so that tricycle operators in the Bono region have increased their fares. You know, tricycles are a normal means of transportation in some communities within the region, but now their fares have gone up. So how are commuters coping with this?
Sechiman, Kinsampo, Nkranza, and several other towns and communities in the Bono East region have tricycles, popularly known as pragia, as a major means of local transportation. Pragia has come to serve the transportation needs of traders, hawkers, farmers, and several others struggling to make ends meet due to its relatively lower fares. Pragia fares have, however, gone up following increases in fuel prices, with the most recent being on the 19th of June 2021, where a litre of fuel shot up from 6.05 Ghana cedis to 6.23 Ghana cedis. The fuel price increases have led pragia fares to almost double, according to some commuters in Kinsampo. Checks by City News and other parts of the region also reveal about 25 to 50% increments in pragia fares, as opposed to the proposed 13% increment by the Ghana Private Road Transport Union.
Initially, no more than 1 cedi 50 pesos. So all of a sudden, we pay for 2 cedi. All of a sudden, meaning say, we pay also budgeted for it. Because one budget be 2 cedi in and out, maybe 5 be 3 cedi for in and out. Not just say, untimate the encomber.
Anani Desmond, the secretary of the Kinsampo Pragia Drivers Association, however, maintains that the price increases are within the 13% benchmark.
We had it that way. We also heard it that people were complaining about the increments of fare, but it wasn't our fault. It was 13% that came, and we go according with the 13% that the government said we should use as the increment of our fares. So that is what basically we did, and nothing more.
Commuters who use pragia are unhappy with the increases. According to them, this has made movements difficult.
Pragia no dey too much to the senior nyame no kwani high pa every say ofo kada no every ha your station your area bit say sumkwan to sewaba and what cha kwani 1 minute no wadu abi okono ofo kada fi no ba odu 2 cedis e ba sana senior e ma na dwone e ne ba ku menu ha bit say ma me say business woman be especially Wednesdays we pentem oba dey oba wan so be contem no this offer dropping in America can oba do 10 cedis cafes and k 5 cedis from how to market senior wa offer dropping kwan so offer pragia no free market on oba no do market junction cross no do 2 cedis e ba sana ya na mane mane bo akoso ya na high ye na yeso ye ni motor na say ye dey 9 elege Benz no ya na high.
We've not increased the prices because we want more money or want something else. But it's because the fuel we want to buy. At first we buy 35 cedis, but now if you are not holding 55 cedis, you wouldn't get full tank. And at the end of the day, you have to give your owner 50 cedis. Every single day you have to give him 50 cedis. And if you don't get the 50 cedis, you have to use your own money to pay the owner. You understand? And so in case of that, I wouldn't do anything which will hurt me later.
Residents in the Bono East region who use pragia as a means of commuting are pleading to the government to intervene and help reverse the price increases.
I'm wondering, these tricycles, or how did they end the pragia name? If you know the backstory, hit us on our Facebook feed or send me a message on Twitter at @mobodu. I'll be glad to hear from you. But you know, while we are still adjusting to these new transport fares, it looks like we will still have to pay more for commodities because traders say they will not bear the increasing cost of freight and duty. So they will pass it on to consumers like you and I if government does not do anything about it. Charlie, that thing, how did they come, pal? The government really, or something ought to be done about this as soon as possible. The Traders Advocacy Group Ghana says consumers should expect an increase in the price of commodities on the market soon. This, according to the group, is due to the increasing cost of freight and duty charges at the port. The Ghana Union of Traders Associations (GUTA) had earlier raised similar concerns and proposed that the duties be calculated at a standard rate of freight charges. The group is therefore calling on the government to look into the situation as it is hampering their businesses. Nana Poku is the General Secretary of the group, and speaking to City Business News during a press conference organized earlier in the week, he stressed that they will have no option than to pass on the rising costs to the consumer if the situation remains unchanged.
We have power. The government of the day should know that traders have power. And we are going to use this power effectively. We will increase prices as government increases. That one, I think we have our liberties of doing so because government have never given us any money to work with. Per our own money and per our own capitals. This is only the weapon we have. So if government deem it fit and necessary that this thing is getting to the levels where it shouldn't go to make me unpopular, then government should start sitting down with the trade organizations now than to allow it to degenerate to the level whereby he cannot control. Because we are the traders, we control the economy. And we will make sure that at the end of the day, we don't lose our livelihoods and then our capitals. This is what they are after.
City TV is live on DSTV. Go to channel 363. On GoTV, access City TV on channel 182. On a digital TV, please press the menu button on the remote control and run a new search on your TV. Take note that without an antenna, you cannot access City TV on your television. City TV can be accessed on a free-to-air digital box like the GoTV and StarTimes box. City TV, it's your world.
On the other hand, these are really trying times for traders in the country. Not only do they have to deal with the rising cost of doing business, they're not sure if they'll return the next day with their goods intact. I've lost count of the number of market fires we've recorded this year alone across the country. The most recent one here at Makola in Accra was something else. It took several days to completely extinguish the fire. But then, what is the way forward with these fires and how can our traders be protected? Fire gutted a 3-story building at Makola in the Central Business District of Accra earlier this month. The building was made up of shops occupied by traders who dealt in hair and cosmetic products. Goods worth hundreds of thousands of cedis were lost to the flames. It took the fire personnel 4 days to completely douse the fire. This year, several fires have been recorded in the business district. Other regions have not been left out as the Kumasi Central Market fire affected over 40 shops. The Techiman and Mankesi market fires all occurred in April. Professor and retired adult educator Kate Adeku is very concerned about these outbreaks.
The issue of fire outbreaks in our markets in the country has become too frequent. And as a retired adult educator, I feel there need to be constant education of the people working in the market as well as agencies involved with fire control and fire management. And I think, you see, when there is a fire outbreak, look at the lady who was interviewed yesterday. She's lost everything. And I think the insurance companies should meet together to come out with a model, a special model facilitating, that will facilitate the help for market women and men that suffer, fire outbreaks. If you look at the impact, this thing is going to take somebody years before he or she will be able to recoup the money. But if there is a special insurance facilities for them, that will help them.
The Ghana Union of Traders Associations, GUTA, seems to buy into the idea, and it has been making some suggestions with regard to insurance for their members. Dr. Joseph Obing is the president of GUTA.
I've been calling for this also because it is also very important. That's why I've said even yesterday that if it will be possible, we come together with the metropolitan assemblies. We always pay these premises fee, that we embed in it, factor something like 20% payment of insurance in this, so that they also give to the insurance companies, so that in times of such a problem, we just fall on the pile of money that the insurance have gotten. But that one will be easy for the trading communities to pay and afford, and then it will bring peace and harmony for the trading community, because our capital we keep losing our capital through fire outbreaks, and we can't bear it any longer.
Away from market fires now to the Bulk Oil Storage and Transportation Company Limited, BOST. Its Bolgatanga depot has resumed operations after about 3 years of inactivity. This must have been a very troubling experience for the workers there. Imagine going to work for 3 years without much to do and not being sure of the future of the company you work for. Well, the BOST MD is doing well. He's already talking about expansion works at the depot.
The Bulk Oil Storage and Transportation Company Limited, Bolgatanga Depot, was established in 1993 to receive petroleum and diesel products from the Bupe Depot through an 8-inch multi-product pipeline to serve the Upper East region and neighboring countries such as Burkina Faso, Mali, Niger, among others. The depot has a capacity of 46,500 cubic meters, comprising 12,000 cubic meters of gasoline and 34,500 cubic meters of gas oil. But operations of the Ghana Grade Company Limited, GRADECO, damaged the pipeline that receives finished petroleum and diesel products from Bupe in 2018, rendering the facility dysfunctional. As a result, tankers from neighboring Sahel countries had to plow through Bolgatanga to either Bupe in the Savannah region or Accra Plains for petroleum and diesel products. But through the increment of the BOST margin, the Bolga BOST depot has been revamped and has commenced full operations. Speaking to City Business News, Bolga BOST depot manager Chikumeke Aniabonam said although they are able to meet the demand of customers, more expansion is needed to achieve 40% coverage of the Sahelian market.
For us to capture the Sahelian market, because we are looking at 40% of the Sahelian market. If we capture 40% of the Sahelian market, we are in good business. So our management has also thought it twice to also expand our storage capacity, because that's the only way we can capture the market. If we don't expand, we cannot capture. So contractors came on site to do some feasibility studies of how best to put up additional storage tanks, about 40 million litre capacity.
Some civil society organizations in the energy sector who were on an accountability visit to the depot urged government to invest in more pipeline distribution infrastructure and also surcharge GRADECO for the cost of the damage to the pipeline.
What some of us are pushing for is that BOST do a lot more, build more pipelines. Then some of the margin, which is the PDM, which is used for the BRVs, the tankers on the road, the products will be sent through pipeline from Accra to this part of the country to reduce the number of tanks on our road. That in actual fact will help us, the consumers, pay less, because some of the elements which goes in to make the price will be reduced.
For his part, the managing director of BOST, Edwin Alfred, said the facility, which commenced full operations in March 2021, has exported about 160 trucks of petroleum products to Mali. He assured that government in due course will roll out projects to expand the BOST Bolga depot to generate the needed revenue and foreign exchange.
This depot currently is about 45 million liters. Now, 45 million liters, it's about 900 trucks, thereabout. So, we hope to grow the demand in the landlocked countries. And when the landlocked country grows, this capacity may be insufficient. When the demand from the landlocked country grows, this capacity may be insufficient. So yes, we have plans of upgrading this depot, adding more storage capacity, at least a 40 million to 20 million tanks extra to boost the capacity of this depot. Also, when the zonalization policy from MPA kicks in fully, that means that this depot will be used regularly by everybody in this business locally.
More grease to your elbows, Mr. Provincial, with all the efforts that you are making at BOST. I hope it will all translate into cheaper fuel at the pumps soon, but still in the petroleum sector. Do you know that it's been about a year now since ENI Ghana and Springfield Ghana were asked to come together because they shared a common oil field? Well, these two companies seem to have a number of differences, but then whatever the issue is, the current delay is not in the interest of the country. Here's why.
The remarks from the oil and gas sector chairman of the Association of Ghana Industries comes about 2 weeks after a court presided over by Her Ladyship Justice Mariam Asamo partly agreed with Springfield and ordered that 30% of all revenues accruing to ENI and Vitol from exploration and production activities from the Sankofa field be preserved in an interest-bearing account until the substantive case between the two is determined. Sankofa is part of ENI's offshore Cape 3 Points project off Ghana's Atlantic coast, which it says has reserves of about 40 billion cubic meters of gas and 500 million barrels of oil. The Afina oil field, which was discovered by Springfield, a wholly owned Ghanaian company, is said to contain 1.5 billion barrels of oil and 0.7 trillion cubic feet of gas. Speaking to City Business News on the continuous stalemate, Kwame Jantua maintained that Ghana will continue to be the biggest loser if the unitization process delays further.
If we leave Springfield to do this entire thing and we don't utilize, government is only going to make $2 billion. The moment we utilize, government is going to make $8 billion. It does not benefit ENI, nor does it benefit Springfield for this thing to be happening, because there's quite a lot of money to be made out of it, and both sides would what? Benefit. And so let's try as much as possible to see this thing through, because on the Ghanaian side, $8 billion would help our economy. On the ENI side, the investments they've made in it would also help them. I understand they've even been able to discover more in their field. So it goes to show that entire area is profitable for both sides. I don't see why we should just sit and have this, hang, on all our necks. Something should be done about it. It's an area part of Springfield's block and part of ENI's block called the Afina block. Let's do something about it and let's make sure that we all benefit from it, because it doesn't bode well for any of us.
Mr. Jantua further added that there needs to be a review of the role of the Ghana National Petroleum Corporation GNPC and its ability to spearhead exploration and production activities on its own.
This is a lesson for us all, and a lesson especially for government, and a lesson especially for Ghanaians. We have to get to a point where we, as Ghanaians, are also partaking in EMP, exploration and production. Currently, we've given GNPC quite a chunk of money since we started for them to become an IOC. What has happened? Do we see GNPC being able to stand in that block? And if they haven't been able to stand in that block, 10 years duration, should they not be doing it now? Who is questioning the fact that GNPC at this point cannot be an IOC because the capacities are not there? the capabilities are not there. But GMPC is no mean small company. They are the ones who brought us into this. They are the ones, the experts who sat and put things together. I was part and parcel of it, so I know the capability of GMPC. Whether GMPC is strong on putting things together and is not strong in operating, we should look at it.
Such refreshing breeze. Ghana is a beautiful country and a lot of people across the world would definitely love to visit. But it appears we are attracting the wrong kind of people along our oceans. Pirates. This year alone, I gather that there have been not less than 10 pirate attacks. Interestingly, they are not just targeting cargo ships. Fishing vessels have also not been spared. This is definitely not good for the fishing industry and will make investors lose interest in entering that sector.
Although piracy has long been a significant problem globally, it was only recently that Ghana's high seas started to gain notoriety for the crime. According to some figures, contemporary maritime piracy peaked in 2010 with around 445 reported incidents. Figures covering 2020 show that while pirates attacked 162 ships in 2019, the number of ships attacked grew to 195 in 2020. Half a dozen of those attacks took place along the coast of Ghana. The cost of pirate attacks runs into millions of dollars. As an example, a 2020 report of the European Union on maritime piracy states that, quote, "Today, the most common form of maritime piracy and armed robbery in the Gulf of Guinea is the hijacking of ships with a focus on kidnapping and ransom payments. In West Africa, the economic cost of piracy was estimated at more than 750 million euros in 2017, end quote." Speaking to City Business News about the way forward, Secretary of the Ghana Tuna Association, Rishdani Amar-Matthew, says they are looking forward to meeting with President Akufo-Addo for the implementation of diplomatic solutions that brings in neighboring countries to resolve the issue which is becoming prevalent in the Gulf of Guinea.
We are hoping to get another appointment. We have one major concern because we have information, quite reliable, that Korean that had already declared the eastern part of Ghana from Kita to Benin a high-risk zone is about promulgating a law that will mean that their nationals should not engage in any form of fishing activities or any form of maritime activity around the areas they have declared as a high-risk maritime zone within the Gulf of Guinea. And what it means is that we will have a lot of challenges, especially for those of us who are doing tuna. Because tuna, we will normally move towards the east. We get our anchovies around Kita areas, and we have access arrangement, and our vessels go to Benin to fish. And so we need to have some diplomatic intervention as soon as possible to be able to deal with this emerging threat of legislating against anybody fishing around the high-risk zone.
So have you been vaccinated yet? If not, there is no need to worry at all because the government has secured some $200 million from the World Bank to acquire more vaccines. Very soon, you'll be able to take the jab and protect yourself from the virus. Don't we all miss the good old days where hugs and handshakes were not awkward sights? I miss them too.
Since Ghana recorded its first COVID-19 case in 2020, she has been mobilizing internal and external funding to directly contain the spread and effects on the economy. These include a World Bank development policy operation of over 1 million Ghana cedis and an IMF rapid credit facility of over 3 million Ghana cedis, amongst others, as part of efforts to help governments procure additional COVID-19 vaccines and support the entire health system to better manage the pandemic. The World Bank has signed an agreement with the government for the release of some additional $200 million loan facility to fight the COVID-19 pandemic. Addressing the media at a press conference in Accra, Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta said the $200 million loan facility will boost the vaccination exercise.
We must continue working towards laying the foundations for an enabled welfare state, one that helps people help themselves and restores dignity to the lives of our fellow Ghanaians. The intervention, therefore, of these resources is important, as if our people are not vaccinated, we will not have the energy and dynamism to transform our economy and be a contributor to much better investments in the green climate and situation that we are now in. Undoubtedly, government cannot do this alone. We need deeper engagements for multilateral partners to facilitate the provision of the requisite financial and technical support to invest in human capital, build physical infrastructure, and comprehensively tackle development challenges that inhibit the SDG goals being attained. At its very core, this will require the availability of bold, innovative financial support to ensure that critical interventions in response to COVID-19 are immediate and swift. The signing of this agreement today forms an essential part of the government's drive to build back better and greener. And clearly, I would like to thank the World Bank, the IDA, and the team from the Ministry of Finance and Ministry of Health for their immense contribution and support, not only of combating the pandemic, but also furthering government's transformation agenda.
World Bank Country Director Pierre Laporte is hopeful the funds will help the country in the management of the virus.
Note and remind everyone that this specific project is focusing mostly on the vaccines, whilst the first two projects supported mostly the initial efforts to put in place the systems and the support to fight the immediate impact. We are now moving to a next phase, and we think that this is extremely important for Ghana because the resources will go to supporting the whole system to be better prepared to deliver vaccines to the people, which is critical in the recovery of the health system itself, to build resilience of the population.
The pandemic almost crippled the tourism industry. Lots of people lost their jobs as businesses were compelled to shut down. People have really suffered with all the restrictions that were imposed. Take, for instance, cinemas. They were just recently opened after over a year. But well, there appears to be some light at the end of the tunnel for the tourism industry because the sector ministry says it is making plans to create a lot of jobs. 1 million actually.
The pandemic took a lot of businesses in the tourism sector by surprise and crippled many of them in months. The restrictions associated with the pandemic deprived a lot of tourism-oriented businesses of a conducive environment to thrive. The closure of the country's borders and the lockdown in most parts of the country denied international tourists, who are the major clients of tourist sites, access into the country and brought several business activities to a standstill. Many tourism entities could not survive the period of inactivity, forcing them out of business, while the determined few downsized. But Minister of Tourism, Arts and Culture, Ibrahim Mohammed Awal, says his ministry is determined to change the fortunes of the sector.
Under our new tourism drive, we want to create 1 million jobs between now and end of 2024 from domestic and international tourism. We cannot achieve this without upping our game, without being ambitious as tourist operators. Therefore, I want to urge all of you within the tourism value chain, whether you are hotel owners, car rentals, tour guides, restaurants, travel owners, let us have a new paradigm, a shift that tourism is not business as usual, it's money. We are going to train 10,000 operators within the tourism value chain this year and early next year. 10,000 of them.
The minister spoke during the launch of the National Tourism Destination Single Window Portal in collaboration with the Ghana Tourism Authority. The app is expected to bring together service operators and the public into one marketplace to enhance service delivery. The project is aimed at tackling challenges in the tourism industry and is targeted at putting Ghana on the map by providing real-time data for policymakers and investors and cutting down on delays in registration and licensing of tour operators. Some stakeholders in the sector shared their thoughts on the new app.
We are so thankful to GTA because they've actually put the tourism industry on the world map, and now our businesses have gone global. So you could see, even from the attendance, that we've received so much joy. We're all going to sign up on this app and market our various businesses, be it restaurant, hotel, whatever. We are all going on there. And as I said earlier on, we're giving up our staff a speed up.
The minister further urged businesses in the tourism industry to give special attention to customer service as efforts are being made to revive the sector amid the pandemic. Dr. Awao believes that ensuring customers receive quality service would secure repeated sales for businesses in the sector, which will aid in recovering the industry.
If you are having 2-3 people now, work hard and employ up to 10, 20, 30, 40 people. So kind of opportunistic entrepreneur. We can only succeed if you think big. Tourism is money. Let us see it as that thing. But to achieve this, let us look at customer care. If the tourist come, whether it's coming from Ghana or outside Ghana, make sure that you deliver quality services so that he or she would want to come back. If they come and then you say you promise A and don't deliver A, you deliver B, don't come back. The last quarter alone, we have what called the Beyond the Return project. Last 2019, 2019 we had about 1.1 million people visiting Ghana under the return program. The Ghana, what's called? The Year Return program. So I'm not doing Beyond the Return, a 10-year project. In the last quarter of this year, we're expecting about 250,000 visitors from around the world. When they come, they demand and expect quality services, and we can't fail them. So I'm urging all operators, when they come at the airport, they'll pick the taxi driver. He must be knowledgeable. The tour operator will send them around the tour site. He must or she must be knowledgeable. The food, the hotel, we must live after it. So I can make Ghana an important source of tourism in Africa. As of now, we are number 3 to Gambia and Senegal. Within 2 years, Ghana should be number 1 in West Africa in terms of tourist destination. So I want all players to support government who can provide the infrastructure, the direction, the policy. But tour operators, hotel players, everybody in the tourism value chain should complement government's efforts and make Ghana a veritable tourism site.
There was a rumor making the rounds on social media that if you left some money unattended to in your bank account for a period, you are most likely to lose it. The Bank of Ghana has been making some moves to protect owners of dormant accounts, but some of these moves have been misunderstood. If you had any doubts, our next video will clear it all up for you.
According to the claims on social media, people needed to reactivate their accounts as soon as possible, or else they risk losing their funds when their dormant accounts are transferred to the Bank of Ghana, or at best endure a tedious process in getting their monies back once it's transferred to the central bank. But per a new statement issued in response to the claims, the Bank of Ghana is assuring that no one whose dormant account is transferred to it will lose their funds. Customers or legal representatives can make claims for the funds by presenting all relevant documentation. The Bank of Ghana added that identification and claiming of funds at the Bank of Ghana, according to the Bank of Ghana, its directive on unclaimed balances and dormant accounts for banks and specialized deposit-taking institutions issued a few months back, seeks to ensure that balances in accounts that have been left unattended to for over a period of time are managed under a special account to be referred to as the Dormant Accounts Register. The directive by the Bank of Ghana, which is pursuant to Section 92 of the Banks and Specialized Deposit-Taking Institutions Act 2016, explained that a dormant account could be a current or savings account with credit balances and their derivatives with no customer-initiated activity by the account holder or a third party on the account holder's behalf for a period of 2 years. The funds in a dormant account, according to the directive, shall be transferred to the Bank of Ghana after 5 years of inactivity for continuous protection. Customers whose accounts fall in this category are encouraged to contact their bankers to reactivate their accounts. As a proactive measure, the Bank of Ghana's directive urges banks and specialized deposit-taking institutions to contact customers whose accounts are dormant to reactivate such accounts. The directive, among other things, also added that banks and SDIs will publish accounts that remain dormant for a period of 5 years on their website and in 2 daily newspapers as a means of notifying account holders who may not have reactivated their accounts.
Still in the banking sector, by September this year, we'll begin testing our own electronic currency. How cool! Well, I know it sounds a little late when other countries have already integrated cryptocurrency in their everyday operations, like South Africa, which I hear has cryptocurrency ATM machines. Well, this pandemic has exposed how important it is for us to go cashless in order to avert a spread of the virus. Are you wondering what the name of this currency is? Well, this video has all the details.
Despite the coronavirus pandemic crippling several economic activities across the country, it saw an increase in government's quest to deepen financial inclusion and accelerate the shift to digital payments to boost economic development. Since the outbreak of the virus in the country in 2020, government has introduced a number of initiatives which include the National Financial Inclusion and Development Strategy and the Cashlight Roadmap to build an inclusive digital payments ecosystem. As part of efforts to quicken the drive towards a cashlight economy and shape monetary policy post-COVID-19, First Deputy Governor of the Bank of Ghana, Dr. Maxwell Opoku-Afari, has stated that the central bank is to commence the piloting of its electronic currency, also known as the ECD, by September this year. Speaking at a 2-day capacity building session for journalists for business advocacy in Accra, Dr. Maxwell Opoku-Afari stated that the currency is expected to operate in a sandbox environment in the interim before the introduction to the general public. He noted that the new currency will help shape the use of other digital currencies such as the cryptocurrency.
When you introduce the central bank digital currency, it is fiat money, it is cash on its own, which means it does not have to be backed by any other thing. It's just like your paper cash that you are saying that I want to keep part of it electronically, which means that you are free to take any transactions, decisions with that digital currency, similar to you do with cash or check or any other forms of payment. And that's what the central bank wants to bring into the space, then to allow all the financial technology companies, the banks, financial technology companies are the fintechs, the banks and other, to be able to create value added on the part of that digital cash. And it also shapes the area of cryptocurrency where people are looking for forms of electronic transactions and they are going to Bitcoins and other areas which are not regulated. But when the central bank brings that digital currency in the space, it creates an instrument that is regulated by the central bank and allows people to do legal business in an environment that is regulated. So that is why you realize that it is a complex area, it is a highly technical area, and it's an area that we need to watch cyber security very carefully. Because once it's digital money, if the security features are not strong, then you can have people going into creating fraudulent ones. It is for this reason why we have to take our time to design it with all the strong security features, but introduce it in a pilot phase in what we call a sandbox environment.
He further noted that the duration of the piloting phase will be determined by how easily the public accepts it and how quickly the operational dynamics come to the fore.
It's the products that go into the sandbox that matures and then moves out of the sandbox. Right. So if we introduce the CBDC in the sandbox and we learn lessons from it, then we'll bring it out and introduce it to the general public. But then you keep on creating the sandbox to promote innovation, which means people who dream of innovative projects, instead of launching straight into an regulated environment, which sometimes is constraining, they can bring that innovation into the sandbox and then test it. And once they have matured it, then they bring it out to the general public. The piloting phase will all be determined by the program framework, which we will try to finish by the end of September.
I think this week we saved the best for the last. Some women in the Northeast region are the real MVPs. It is clear how much of an impact the pandemic has had on the economy, and I dare say everybody has felt a pinch one way or the other. But these women have found an innovative way to help each other get back on their feet. Let me not spill the beans. Please watch this.
These women of Kukwa, a farming community near Walwale in the Northeast region, are en route to weed their colleagues' farm. Numbering 10, they have joined forces to stave off disaster after being hit hard financially by the COVID-19 pandemic. Bibata Sumani is part of the group and says she has not regretted joining.
Dama ti ko ta ko kon bilan yabo ti ko ti ya jibu nza song ta manga he hadu ka ki mare zuna e ko sangi na ka ni bidi
Though women in Africa form the majority when it comes to productive work in agriculture, their involvement is in subsistence farming, staying in the lower level of the value chain, where they earn meager amounts when compared to male farmers. These women of Kukwa have a rotating schedule. After working at a member's farm, they will move on to another person's farm. This is how they are supporting each other in the midst of this pandemic.
The association helped us in COVID time because some of us were market and business women. And because of the covenants in this sickness, we can't go to the market. That if you are going to the market, you must cover your mouth. And all of our villages will not do that. But because of that, this one is helping us. If you are going to marketing because of money, and if you are working this also, somebody will have his farm work about 1 acre or 2 acres. If she call us, we will go. If it is 2 acres, that's 1 million. If they say that 500. And if we try and plant the 2 acres, and we get 1 million, maybe that time, if we were to go to market, you cannot get a profit of like that.
With little or no money to maintain their farms, coming together became their only strength. To some of the women, the pandemic only provided their husbands an opportunity to shirk their responsibilities. Aisha Tomorrow, another member, says the group is a heaven.
I tend to see the mass so sick. Pama, Tilma, the Pama Pantamanga, Unguarbi Manisukuri. Katia Zunanama, Tia Musisia, Tia Zangaza, Panatan da Pamanama. Now you miss my yanni. You miss my way, Yama. Cabana Tikun, Wallera, Kawallera. Yangi, one soon over Yangi, Igawalma. I got it done by you, Ginitaba, the Palansian Ginitaba. And 2 bag group of man, Unkura. Yanton Yaika. Unqua, and some soon come on Diando, she could be Sicurinema. Unqua, come on Diando, be Sicurinema. And soon to them, I don't know Zanga, or Zanga Yaya Jinduni, occupy Dundong Bakan Yinda, Sicurinema.
After harvesting the produce, they will store 1 bag each until the next season when they will sell everything and invest the revenue in their farms. Group leader Dahamatu Yakubu, however, welcomes any intervention that will help the work of the association.
COVID-19 is punished that we the women. We the village women, COVID-19 punished us. It has punished us very much. If we were not to think about some group like this, from us, we will not die, but we will be sick. But it will not be COVID-19 sickness. Thinking the brain, it will change our brain. We know that we were trading. We were business women. And now because of this sickness, COVID-19 let us go back. We know that what we were having is no more. If we were to get a loan, or government will let a town of plowing and tractor will come and plow for us, or he'll give us loans. This time, going to September or November, December, they will harvest. If we were to have a loan, we buy some food stuff and put them.
Can't believe it, our time is up, but thank you for tuning in to the Business Weekly Show on City TV, your most watched business show in the country. The show was sponsored by Standard Chartered Bank Ghana Limited. Standard Chartered Bank, here for good. Don't miss out on the business dashboard, 10 p.m. sharp every weekday with a repeat the following day on City TV at 7 a.m. sharp. And yes, our website citybusinessnews.com is there for you for regular business news updates. My name is Michael Obodu. Thank you for tuning in. Please follow me on Twitter at mobodu. Catch you same time next week. Stay safe, stay informed. Bye from here.